Greetings, this is a quick walkthrough of my reef tank. Starting with the tank, it's a 220 gallon oceanic tank. It was originally a peninsula tank. I've converted it to an external overflow. It's 6 feet long, 2.5 feet tall, and 2 feet front to back. The stand I built, the Sump is a 75 gallon tank that's been rebuilt into a sump, different baffles. And then the light was also a custom made DIY job. Starting with the tank itself, the background is a custom made using mostly lava rock and sanded grout to hold it together. There's 3 pieces, actually 4 pieces, including the side. There's a mixture of LPS and SPS coral, as well as 20 fish. Right now the lights are just on white so that it doesn't bleach out the video. It's got 2 wave makers. They're ice caps on both ends on alternate. Most of the LPS is on this side because the lights on this side are turned down a little bit for lower light corals. And then the SPS are on the far side where the lighting is turned up a little bit higher. The overflow is in the back, and that's a really small weir there, and then it flows into a tank in the back side on the outside of the tank, and then it into a bean animal style drain that goes into the 3 drains there. And then the filtration, the sump system has mostly a refugium here, lots of chaeto in it. And it's got a 60 watt light there, there's a CFL, and then a underwater 30 watt LED. That flows over a small baffle here and into some filter floss. And then that flows down through the filter floss into, these are just PVC pipes to use as splash guards and prevent any kind of salt creep or bubbles. I also have some chaeto in here so that any pods can survive in that section and make their way back into the main display. There's a little bit of rubble rock in there as well. And then the return pump has an 1.5 inch return. It goes back up to the back of the tank, or the back of the stand into the tank, as well as there's a manifold there. And the manifold has several ball valves. One of them is being used now for the Precision Marine Venturi skimmer, so there's no pump in there, it just runs off the return pump. And Venturi, it's got this skim mate reservoir that it's handy to have. I modified the output of the skimmer. It used to have a gate valve. I put an adjustable repair coupling in there so I can adjust the height of this output tube, and that adjusts the volume of the water inside the skimmer. It makes it really easy. I like it better than the gate valve. That flows into another DIY project for a algae scrubber. It's just a piece of 2-inch PVC pipe, and it's not hard connected, it just falls inside the pipe and then runs down onto some light that is inside that box. There's just a little free placemat, just a light shield so it doesn't grow algae all over the back side of the tank and the sump. And then on this side there's no, because it goes, the light spill there just goes into the refugium anyway. The return goes through the back. There you can see the box for the overflow. The silicone to the back of the tank and the plumbing for the drains. And then the return line just comes up over the top. And it connects on both sides into just a spray bar. It's black PVC pipe, so it hides better with the black rocks. And then there's a bunch of holes drilled every 1/2 inch to make it a small spray bar so it doesn't circulate a lot of water. The light is also made from it's got oak skin, but it's got a big aluminum heat sink, which is a 6-inch aluminum channel. There's also two 80-watt T5s or 5-foot bulbs. There you can see all the white lights. There's 500 watts of LEDs in there. I don't generally run it that high. There are also blue and purples in there as well, and different wavelengths to help it grow more coral. They're all adjustable. They're set with a adjustable LED controller that actually sits on top of the hood. The stand I made, it's 6-inch marine grade aluminum. I didn't want to have a center brace, so it's just the two legs, and then it's open in the bottom, and then the sump actually sits on the floor. There's a shower pan line in there to catch any drips or spills, which come in really handy and save the floor several times. This tank here is my quarantine tank. There's currently no fish in there, but it's up and running. This tank here is built into the web of the stand. It sits kind of like a T, and it just sits on the legs there. It holds about 10 gallons of water. And then that flows out of that tube in the back there into a real simple float valve. If it'll focus. Try this. And there's the float valve. So it just works off of gravity. There's no pumps. As the water drops down out of the return chamber, that float valve lowers and fills it back up again. Right now it has this blue tube coming out of it because it's just run a 25-foot line right up to my RODI filter, plug it in, and then when it's full to the top, the float valve inside that tank shuts it off. So I don't have to carry any water, and it never spills and never overflows. Inside the legs, well, the skin itself, the outside of the stand, I don't leave it just the aluminum. There's the oak legs, and then there's magnets in the corners, and those snap into the front panels so that when I'm not working on the tank, it looks just like a piece of furniture. Came out really nice and quiets the noise down quite a bit. But inside the leg, my electronics, the return pump controls, a reef keeper. There's a battery backup in there, as well as the wave maker controls are all inside that leg so they don't get wet. Inside the other leg is where I keep all my dosing requirements and testing equipment. So I use a dosing pump. There are the 4 containers. I only use 3, calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium. And then I have Calquasser for the 4th periodically, but I hardly ever use it. And then I use the BRS, calcium and alkalinity. There's also some carbon in a media bag. And then just the test kits. And then the dosing pump is mounted to the top here. And then just doses right into the sump. So I like it a lot. It's not my first tank, but the access to the tank on my previous one was really hard, so I wanted to make sure this one is easy to work on. That's why the stand has no center brace. It's also 42 inches high, which gives me lots of room to get inside and get my arms in there, and I don't have to work around bracing or no room, as well as the hood. The hood actually lifts up out of the way. It's mounted via TV mounts. The hood actually lifts up in the front. Not quite tall enough without a ladder on hand to throw it, but it actually goes completely to 90 degrees and completely out of the way, so I can work in the tank without any obstacles. Right now there's a little bit of a green slime algae growing on the rocks that popped up when our air conditioner went out and it got a little bit hot. It's also going away. The tank just turned 1 year old. Still got some more things I'd like to do too. I'd like to add some more corals and do a little bit more. I don't like all the coral on the sand, so I'd like to add a couple rocks to get those mounted to rocks and up off the sand so it's easy to clean the sand. But that's my 220 gallon, mostly DIY reef tank.